This is Greenland, a land of ice stretching beyond the horizon. The largest island on Earth, holding silence the size of continents. Here, ice is not frozen in time. It moves, cracks, and breathes. Beneath this white surface lies rock older than life itself. Nearly 4 billion years of Earth's memory rest here. Today, this frozen land stands at the center of the modern world. As ice melts, oceans rise, roots open, and attention turns north. Yet only 50,000 people call this vast land home. They live between mountains, sea, and ice, shaped by survival. Long before borders and politics, the Inuit learned to belong here. Greenland is not loud, not crowded, not easy to reach, but its ice shapes oceans. Its position shapes the world. Here, at the edge of ice and ocean, where time moves slower than the glaciers themselves, our journey into Greenland truly begins. Greenland stretches wider than imagination comfortably allows, challenging how we perceive distance and scale. Its coastlines curve, fracture, and slowly fade into ice, ocean, and endless distance. Vast interior regions remain unseen and unreachable, preserved in silence and isolation. Here, scale dominates every journey, reducing human movement to something slow and deliberate. Travel follows the rhythm of weather, terrain, and seasons rather than human intention. In Greenland, space itself becomes an experience that shapes every moment. Beneath the Arctic sky lies a frozen mass so vast, it appears without edges. Its surface conceals valleys, ridges, and entire mountain ranges buried deep below. Under its own immense weight, the ice slowly drifts toward the sea. Cracks open, widen, and release ice that has been locked away for thousands of years. Each fracture subtly reshapes coastlines far beyond Greenland itself. This frozen sheet quietly links Greenland's fate to the rest of the planet. Time in Greenland reaches far beyond the age of ice, stretching back to the earliest chapters of Earth's formation. Some of the stones beneath this land were formed more than 3.8 billion years ago, when life itself was only beginning. Layer by layer, the ground preserves traces of warmth in a place now defined by cold. Fossil evidence reveals that forests once covered parts of Greenland, long before ice claimed the land. As the planet slowly cooled, climates shifted and landscapes transformed beyond recognition. Greenland's green past did not disappear. It simply became frozen, waiting beneath the ice. Near the Arctic Circle, light and darkness shape life with extremes rarely experienced elsewhere on Earth. Winters stretch long and dark, while summers arrive briefly with endless daylight. Cold governs every aspect of daily life, from movement and work to rest and survival. Decisions are never simple here, shaped by weather forecasts, ice conditions, and immense distances. Knowledge is passed down through generations, teaching patience rather than speed. Greenland may appear silent and empty, but life thrives quietly beneath ice and water. The Arctic Ocean surrounding the island supports a fragile yet resilient ecosystem. Cold currents carry nutrients that sustain life across vast frozen distances. Plankton blooms beneath the ice, forming the foundation of the Arctic food chain. Fish and seals follow these invisible pathways through the icy waters. Narwhals navigate the darkness using sound, their spiral tusks cutting through the sea. In the deep, Greenland sharks glide slowly, surviving for centuries in extreme cold. On land, Arctic animals adapt their bodies and behavior to relentless seasons. Polar bears depend entirely on sea ice to hunt and survive. Here, wildlife becomes the first witness to a rapidly changing Arctic. Long before maps, borders, or nations existed, people learned how to live in balance with this vast Arctic land. The Inuit have called Greenland home for thousands of years, shaping their lives around ice, sea, and shifting seasons. Survival here was never about conquering nature, but about listening to it and understanding its rhythms. Knowledge of ice conditions, winds, and animal behavior was carefully passed down through countless generations. Kayaks were designed to move silently across icy waters, allowing hunters to approach without disturbing the sea. Dog sleds became lifelines, connecting families and communities across frozen landscapes during long Arctic winters. Clothing, tools, and shelters were crafted entirely from what the land and animals provided. Igloos built from blocks of snow once offered warmth, protection, and survival in extreme cold. Art emerged not as decoration, but as a way to record life, beliefs, and survival. Carvings and patterns reflected animals, spirits, myths, and the deep connection between people and land. Today, modern technology and ancient traditions exist side by side across Greenland's towns. In Greenland, Inuit culture endures by adapting to change, just as it always has. NUUK stands on the edge of the Arctic, where land, sea, and sky converge into a fragile balance. It is the capital of Greenland, yet remains smaller than many towns elsewhere in the world. Nearly 1/3 of Greenland's population lives here, clustered along the rocky southwestern coast. The city is surrounded by mountains and fjords, shaping both its geography and its limits. Unlike most Arctic settlements, NUUK experiences relatively mild temperatures year-round. Warm Atlantic currents soften winters and cool summers along this coast. Founded in the 18th century, NUUK began as a small colonial trading post. Over time, it grew into the political and administrative heart of Greenland. Today, decisions shaping Greenland's future are made within these modest city limits. Inuit heritage remains deeply woven into daily life, language, and identity. At the same time, modern influences reshape how people live and work. Colorful houses line the hillsides, standing out against snow, rock, and sea. The harbor connects NUUK to the rest of the island by sea. There are no roads linking NUUK to other towns across Greenland. Air and water remain the only paths beyond the city. Despite its remoteness, NUUK hosts universities, hospitals, and cultural institutions. Art and music here often reflect both Arctic roots and global influence. Politics, tradition, and climate concerns intersect daily in this city. NUUK represents Greenland's present, negotiating between preservation and change. Here, the future of an Arctic nation quietly takes shape. KANGERLUSSUAQ lies deep inland at the end of a long fjord, where the Arctic landscape slowly shifts from water to tundra and ice. Unlike most Greenlandic settlements, this place was shaped not by fishing routes, but by aviation and ice. The settlement began as a strategic military airbase during the Cold War, positioned between continents. Its exceptionally long runway allowed large aircraft to land in one of the harshest climates on Earth. Over time, the military presence faded, but the infrastructure remained essential. Today, KANGERLUSSUAQ functions as Greenland's primary international gateway by air. Nearly all long-haul flights arrive here before dispersing across the island. Beyond the airport, the land opens into vast Arctic wilderness rarely touched by development. A gravel road stretches toward the edge of the Greenland ice sheet. This is one of the few places on Earth where continental ice can be reached by vehicle. Standing here, the ice feels immediate, physical, and immense. Scientists use this region to monitor atmospheric composition and long-term climate change. Ancient moraines and glacial deposits shape the terrain surrounding the settlement. Wildlife such as musk oxen and caribou roam freely across the tundra. Winters here are long, dry, and intensely cold compared to the coast. Summers briefly expose rock, dust, and frozen earth beneath the snow. The population remains small, closely tied to aviation, research, and logistics. Life here feels temporary, functional, and deeply connected to transit. KANGERLUSSUAQ is less a destination than a threshold into Greenland. Through ice and sky, this place quietly connects Greenland to the world beyond. ILULISSAT rests along Greenland's western coast, facing a bay shaped entirely by moving ice. The town's name, meaning icebergs, reflects the reality of daily life here. Colorful houses cling to rocky slopes above dark Arctic waters. Ice drifts past the harbor as a constant presence rather than a rare event. Just beyond town lies ILULISSAT Ice Fjord, recognized globally as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Here, massive icebergs are born from one of Earth's most active glaciers. Some icebergs rise higher than buildings, carrying unimaginable mass below the surface. Their journey through DISKO Bay may take months or even years. DISKO Bay gathers ice from deep within Greenland's interior. Light, season, and motion constantly reshape the bay's appearance. Fishermen navigate carefully between ice floes and open water. Tourism has grown as visitors seek to witness ice on a planetary scale. Scientists study glacier dynamics and iceberg production from this region. Nearby Jakobshavn Glacier ranks among the fastest-moving glaciers on Earth. Changes here are monitored internationally for signs of climate acceleration. Winter brings long darkness and frozen silence to the town. Summer replaces night with endless daylight under the midnight sun. Life in ILULISSAT continuously adjusts to ice, light, and season. The town exists in constant dialogue with forces far larger than itself. In ILULISSAT, ice is not scenery, it is destiny. UUMMANNAQ rests on a small island off Greenland's northwest coast, where drifting ice, open sea, and towering rock define both geography and daily life. Behind the town rises a heart-shaped mountain sculpted by ancient glaciers that once covered this entire coastline. This dramatic geology tells a story millions of years older than human settlement. For centuries, UUMMANNAQ has been a center of Inuit life in the high Arctic. Survival here was shaped by hunting, fishing, and a precise understanding of ice movement and seasons. Even today, many families remain closely tied to the sea for food, travel, and identity. Icebergs drifting past the island constantly reshape routes and daily decisions. Winters are long and dark, with temperatures often remaining far below freezing. In summer, brief warmth and constant daylight bring renewed movement to the island. Houses cluster tightly along the shore to shield residents from wind and cold. The small population strengthens social bonds and collective responsibility. Access to healthcare and education remains limited but essential. Modern technology now links UUMMANNAQ to the outside world through air and digital networks. Climate change is altering ice stability around the island. These shifts directly affect hunting safety and travel routes. Yet daily life continues with quiet discipline and resilience. UUMMANNAQ is shaped as much by isolation as by cooperation. The mountain, ice, and sea remain constant companions. Life here exists at the edge of habitability. In UUMMANNAQ, endurance is not heroic, it is simply necessary. South Greenland feels unexpectedly gentle compared to the rest of the island, shaped by milder temperatures and sheltered fjords. Grasslands and low vegetation appear here during summer. Fjords carve deep into the land, creating valleys that retain warmth longer than elsewhere. This region supported human settlement over 1,000 years ago. Norse settlers introduced agriculture here during the medieval period. Sheep farming continues today, linking modern life to medieval traditions. Inuit culture also adapted to this greener environment. Towns here feel more open and connected than elsewhere in Greenland. Roads exist between nearby settlements, a rarity on the island. Summers are longer and brighter, supporting limited agriculture. Winters remain cold, but less severe than the high Arctic. Fishing and farming form the backbone of local livelihoods. Tourism has grown around hiking, fjords, and cultural history. Climate change is extending growing seasons while increasing unpredictability. Ecosystems here respond faster to warming than colder regions. Political debate often centers on development versus conservation. Infrastructure expansion is carefully weighed against environmental risk. South Greenland offers insight into adaptation rather than resistance. It reveals a softer face of Greenland without losing resilience. Here, Greenland quietly balances history, nature, and future change. In the quiet fjords of southern Greenland lie the stone remains of Norse Greenland, a medieval European world built at the edge of the Arctic. These settlements were founded around the year 985, when Norse explorers crossed the North Atlantic in search of new land. South Greenland's relatively mild climate made farming possible in a place that seemed impossible. The Norse raised sheep, cattle, and goats, relying on hay harvested during short summers. Stone churches and longhouses reflected European culture transplanted into Arctic geography. HVALSEY Church remains the best-preserved Norse ruin in Greenland. Written records describe weddings and daily life continuing here into the 15th century. Then, the Norse Greenlanders vanished from history without a clear explanation. Climate cooling, economic isolation, and environmental strain likely played combined roles. As temperatures dropped, farming became increasingly difficult. Trade routes with Europe weakened over time. Unlike the Inuit, the Norse struggled to adapt fully to Arctic conditions. Their tools and traditions were rooted in temperate Europe. Archaeology reveals a society caught between old habits and a changing land. Today, only stone walls remain against wind and silence. The ruins stand as warnings carved into the landscape. They remind us that survival here requires adaptation, not dominance. History in Greenland is written as much by climate as by people. Norse Greenland remains one of the Arctic's great unanswered questions. Here, stone and silence carry the weight of a lost civilization. TASERMIUT Fjord cuts deep into southern Greenland, forming a narrow corridor where ocean, stone, and sky collide in dramatic silence. Towering granite walls rise almost vertically from the water, giving the fjord a scale that immediately dwarfs human presence. These rock formations are among the oldest on Earth, formed billions of years ago, long before ice, life, or oceans appeared. During the last ice age, massive glaciers carved this fjord with slow, relentless force. As the ice retreated, it left behind sheer cliffs, deep waters, and a landscape stripped to its raw structure. The fjord's extreme terrain has prevented permanent human settlement for centuries. Isolation here is not accidental, but enforced by rock, water, and weather. Yet this very isolation has turned TASERMIUT into a global legend among elite climbers. Peaks such as UUMMANNAQ rise nearly 2,000 meters above sea level, offering some of the most demanding climbs on the planet. Climbers face long approaches, unpredictable storms, and total exposure to the elements. From the water, kayakers experience the fjord at its most intimate scale, dwarfed by walls of stone and shifting light. Sound carries differently here, where wind echoes between cliffs and water absorbs all else. Wildlife appears only occasionally along the fjord's edges, fleeting and cautious. There is no infrastructure here, no comfort, and no margin for error. Weather systems can shift within minutes, turning calm waters into dangerous terrain. Every journey into TASERMIUT demands preparation, humility, and respect for scale. The fjord offers no shelter from nature's force, only clarity. Many compare TASERMIUT to Patagonia or Yosemite, yet its Arctic light gives it a harsher identity. Here, ambition fades quickly against time measured in stone and ice. In TASERMIUT Fjord, Greenland reveals a landscape that does not negotiate with humanity. TASIILAQ lies on Greenland's remote eastern coast, where mountains, glaciers, and sea meet in near isolation from the rest of the island. Surrounded by steep peaks and deep fjords, the town feels enclosed by nature on all sides. This eastern coast faces the open North Atlantic, making weather harsher and less predictable. Sea ice and drifting icebergs often block access for months at a time. For centuries, Inuit communities here adapted to extreme isolation and limited resources. Hunting, fishing, and seasonal movement shaped survival along this coast. European contact arrived later here than on Greenland's western coast. The town developed around trade, missions, and administration in the 19th century. Today, TASIILAQ is the largest settlement in eastern Greenland, yet remains small by global standards. Houses cling to slopes overlooking the fjord, painted brightly against long winters. Winters bring prolonged darkness, heavy snow, and isolation. Summer offers brief relief, with daylight stretching across the horizon. Fishing remains a vital economic activity for local families. Supplies and travel depend heavily on weather and sea conditions. Climate change is altering ice patterns and coastal stability. These changes affect hunting safety and traditional routes. Cultural identity here remains deeply tied to land and sea. Modern education and governance coexist with ancient traditions. Life in TASIILAQ demands patience, resilience, and respect for nature's limits. Here, Greenland feels distant, exposed, and profoundly real. SCORESBYSUND is the largest fjord system on Earth, stretching more than 350 kilometers into Greenland's eastern interior, a scale so vast that distance itself becomes difficult to comprehend. This immense network of fjords, channels, and side valleys was carved over millions of years by massive glaciers flowing slowly toward the sea. Towering rock walls rise from waters often choked with drifting ice, creating a landscape where motion and stillness coexist. The fjord branches endlessly, forming a labyrinth of stone, water, and ice that can take days to navigate even by boat. Human presence in Scoresbysund is minimal, limited to a few small seasonal settlements that appear insignificant against the surrounding scale. Isolation here is not a feeling, but a physical condition imposed by distance, ice, and weather. During winter, the fjord is locked beneath months of darkness and immobile sea ice. Temperatures can remain far below freezing for extended periods, pushing both equipment and human endurance to their limits. When summer finally arrives, massive icebergs are released from the interior, drifting slowly through the fjord system. These icebergs originate from Greenland's interior glaciers, carrying fresh water locked away for thousands of years. Their slow movement reshapes navigation routes and defines seasonal access. Beneath the surface, cold Arctic waters support fragile ecosystems adapted to extreme conditions. Polar bears, seals, and seabirds depend on the shifting edge between ice and open water. Geological layers exposed along the fjord's cliffs reveal Earth's deep history written in stone. Scientists study Scoresbysund to understand how glaciers respond to rising temperatures and changing oceans. Data collected here helps predict future sea level rise across the globe. Weather systems move rapidly through the fjord corridors, leaving little margin for error. Any expedition into Scoresbysund requires extensive planning, specialized equipment, and constant vigilance. This is not a landscape designed for comfort, but for scale, truth, and humility. In Scoresbysund, Greenland reveals a dimension so vast that it reshapes how humans perceive distance, time, and survival. Northeast Greenland National Park covers nearly 1 million square kilometers, making it the largest national park on Earth by an almost unimaginable margin. This protected wilderness alone is larger than many countries. Mountains, glaciers, fjords, and polar deserts stretch uninterrupted to the horizon. The land here is shaped almost entirely by ice, wind, and geological time. Human presence is virtually absent, limited to scientists and rare expeditions. There are no permanent settlements within the park's boundaries. Polar bears roam freely across sea ice and coastal plains. Musk oxen survive in scattered groups, adapted to extreme cold and scarcity. Seabirds nest along cliffs during the short Arctic summer. Winters bring months of darkness, extreme cold, and near total stillness. Temperatures can plunge far below -30 degrees Celsius. In summer, the sun never fully sets, creating long days of continuous light. Climate scientists monitor this region to study ice sheet dynamics. Data collected here helps model global sea level rise. The park acts as a living archive of Earth's coldest systems. Political decisions have kept this land largely untouched by development. Access is strictly controlled to preserve fragile ecosystems. Here, nature operates without compromise or negotiation. The scale of emptiness challenges human perception of space. In Northeast Greenland National Park, Greenland reveals its purest and most unforgiving form. QAANAAQ lies near the far northern edge of Greenland, where human settlement reaches its practical limit. This region was once known as THULE, a name tied to ancient Arctic exploration. The settlement was relocated in the 20th century to support modern infrastructure. QAANAAQ remains one of the northernmost permanent settlements on Earth. Inuit culture here evolved to survive long periods of darkness and cold. Hunting marine mammals remains central to subsistence and identity. Dog sledding remains essential for travel across ice. The sun disappears entirely during polar winter. During summer, continuous daylight alters daily rhythms. Sea ice defines hunting routes and seasonal movement. Climate change is thinning ice and shortening hunting seasons. These shifts threaten food security and cultural continuity. The nearby U.S. airbase reflects geopolitical interest in the Arctic. Global powers increasingly view the Arctic as strategic territory. Despite this, daily life in KANGERLUSSUAQ remains modest and grounded. Community bonds are strong in such an extreme environment. Isolation reinforces cooperation and resilience. Life here operates on nature's schedule rather than human convenience. QAANAAQ stands as a reminder of humanity's adaptability. At the edge of the Arctic, human life endures with quiet determination. Greenland's high Arctic coast stretches across the island's far north, where the land fractures into ice, exposed rock, and frozen sea beneath some of the most unforgiving polar conditions on Earth. This coastline faces the Arctic Ocean directly, absorbing relentless cold currents, shifting ice, and months of darkness. For most of the year, sea ice dominates the ocean surface, locking land and water into a single frozen system. Ancient geological formations emerge where glaciers have retreated, revealing bedrock shaped over billions of years. Sheer cliffs rise abruptly from frozen seas, leaving no gradual transition between land and ocean. Powerful winds sweep across the coast without obstruction, intensifying cold and erosion. Permanent human settlement is almost entirely absent along this coastline. Only temporary scientific camps and rare expeditions interrupt the emptiness. Wildlife survives by adapting to the narrow margin between ice and open water. Polar bears patrol the coastline, following shifting ice in search of seals. Seals rely on breathing holes in the ice, making survival a constant calculation. Seabirds migrate here during the brief Arctic summer, nesting on inaccessible cliffs. Winters bring months of complete darkness and immobilized ice. Temperatures frequently fall below -40 degrees Celsius. Climate change is gradually thinning sea ice along this coast. These changes disrupt wildlife migration and ice stability. International interest in Arctic shipping routes continues to increase. The coast becomes both a natural barrier and a potential corridor. Nature here leaves no margin for human error. Along the high Arctic coast, Greenland reveals its most severe boundary between land, ocean, and survival itself. At the heart of Greenland lies the ice cap interior, a vast frozen plateau covering more than 80% of the island's surface. This ice sheet is the second largest on Earth, surpassed only by Antarctica. In some areas, the ice reaches thicknesses exceeding 3 kilometers, compressing everything beneath it. Beneath the ice lies ancient bedrock shaped long before human history began. Snowfall accumulates year after year, slowly compressing into solid ice over millennia. Each layer of ice preserves a record of Earth's past climate. Scientists drill deep ice cores to extract temperature data from hundreds of thousands of years ago. These records reveal cycles of warming and cooling long before modern industry. The interior remains one of the coldest regions in the northern hemisphere. Winds scour the ice surface, erasing nearly all visible features. There are no towns, roads, or vegetation here. Human presence is limited to research stations and temporary camps. Even in summer, temperatures can remain below -30 degrees Celsius. Climate change is accelerating surface melt along the ice sheet's edges. Meltwater channels form, drain, and disappear with the seasons. The stability of this ice mass directly affects global sea levels. A complete melt would raise oceans by more than 7 meters worldwide. As a result, this interior region is among the most closely monitored on Earth. Time here moves slowly, measured in snowfall and pressure rather than days. In the ice cap interior, Greenland functions as a silent engine driving planetary change. Greenland is not a place defined by crowds, landmarks, or easy beauty, but by scale, silence, and forces far older than humanity itself. Across this island, ice, rock, ocean, and sky form a system that operates beyond human control. For thousands of years, people have adapted to Greenland rather than reshaping it. Inuit knowledge, built through generations, remains inseparable from ice, wind, and seasonal change. Greenland's landscapes remind us that survival here has never been guaranteed. Every fjord, glacier, and ice field carries the memory of deep geological time. Beneath the ice, Greenland holds records of Earth's ancient climate. Today, those frozen records are becoming warnings. Changes here do not stay here. What melts in Greenland reshapes coastlines thousands of kilometers away. In this way, Greenland stands at the center of a planetary conversation. It is no longer just the world's largest island, but a measure of balance. A balance between ice and ocean, stability and acceleration. Between human ambition and natural limits. Greenland does not ask to be conquered or owned. It asks only to be understood. To understand how fragile systems can appear strong and how strong systems can change. In Greenland, silence is not empty. It is full of meaning. The island speaks quietly, but its message travels far. And in listening to Greenland, we begin to understand the future of our shared planet.